You mentioned Sidney Lumet. I always, whenever I talk to you, I have to talk to you about Dog Day Afternoon, which is, I think I was 10 when the film came out, 10 or 11, and yeah. and it was the first movie where I actually realized what acting was. You know what I mean? It was like, I was like, wow, these people are acting. It's such a great movie, and you got to kill John Cazale. Yeah,
he was a friend of mine, John. I killed my friends in movies. No, I'm kidding. We were all in the Actors Studio, and we all were in that movie. We all knew each other. And Al, of course, was the core of that movie, and John, and a few other people, Penny Allen, all these wonderful actors. And we were all just so grateful to be there to do that story. I mean, again, Sidney Lumet, he was like, he embraced people and really loved actors. He loved doing what he did. In fact, I did Prince of the City with him too. And what he would do is rent a ballroom about this size, and he would take off all the locations in the room with nothing else in there. And every actor, where they only had one line, was invited to come and rehearse the whole movie in continuity. So you really knew what the movie was about. And that's a guy who loves acting, and he came from theater, you know, that kind of thing. So I've had some great experiences. I could talk for hours, but I know I'll be alone in here if I try.
Let's talk about Millennium. I've talked to you about this before, but tell everybody about. I mean, it was hard to do that show for you. I mean, you brought that character home, and anyway, how draining was it for you? How intense?
Well, Millennium, when I got it, I suddenly realized after we had done the pilot that the character was so much more educated than I am, or ever was, or ever will be, and so that it was for me like trying to climb uphill of a mountain with my fingertips. You know, it was. I was so in awe of. I remember sitting alone one night thinking, I was almost teared up thinking about that there were people out there that were actually doing that job, and we don't even know about them, and they do it, and I'm so grateful because there's a lot of. I mean, there's some really bad people out there. And there was somebody out there trying to put that into check, you know what I mean, for our society. So I was kind of blown away, and having had no education on that kind of level, I had to work very hard at it. I mean, I read books that the FBI, puts out, and I listened to, I mean, I did a lot of work to try to catch up with at least where I would feel confident, so it was a lot of work. And at the end of 3 years, when they said, well, they're not picking it up again, I went, oh, thank you, God. I was so tired at the end of 3 years because I was in every scene of every show almost, and in 14-hour days, and do I sound like I'm whining? No, I'm sorry. But my memory of it is my wife at the time used to say to me constantly, Frank, can Lance come out and play this weekend? Like begging for some attention. Because I was driving around looking look at that guy. There's something really suspicious about that guy. I'm driving in a car and doing that, or sitting in a restaurant going, I wonder what that guy's game is, like constantly trying to unravel something. Why are you leaving?
Totally ignoring you, man.
I made him deaf. All right. Anyway. So that covers Millennium. I mean, it was wonderful. Terry O'Quinn was great. Megan Gallagher. I mean, all these people that I worked with. Again, to me, the adventure is the people, the humanity that you feel. And if you had asked me what's my favorite movie right after that, I would have said Millennium.
And what's the possibility?
Are you guys keeping up?
A Millennium movie, are we going to see that?
That is such a disappointment. I mean, Chris Carter has said he wants to do it. And and thousands of fans that have been involved on my website and wrote books back to Frank Black and all this stuff. We're waiting, if the trigger gets pulled before I need a walker, we'll be able to do it. And I think it should start with me in a retirement home, insane asylum, kind of concoction mix. And they pull me out to solve a case that only I can solve. That is the dreariest opening I've ever. Boy, I can't better than that. I was in space all this time. And they bring the capsule down and they thaw me out. And they say, you have to go to Bulgaria, even though you don't speak Bulgarian. You can't read Cyrillic, but you're going to go there and solve a case.
Sounds possible.
You can tell I'm not a writer. I'm really not a writer. I write my own jokes, but they suck.
All right, man, Near Dark. One of the greatest movies ever made. But for my money, best vampire movie ever made, and I love
you.
You
Never
in
saw
that movie.
30 Days of Nights.
I have seen it.
You see that?
Yeah.
God, what a movie.
It was great, but Near Dark's better.
Yeah, Catherine Bigelow's
Catherine Bigelow, man.
had a love story in there, which is kind of hard to read into a vampire film. She did it. She did it.
You got a great story about Bill Paxton and his makeup, and he would pull some shit on people with his when he had makeup on.
Bill Paxton would stay in character by all day long. He would wear he had carried around a black umbrella, and it looked like we were at a funeral. And he had dark sunglasses, and we would go into a truck stop after shooting all night. And imagine us coming in with, I had a scar down my face, and I was dirty, we were dirty. And we walked into a truck stop down in Coolidge, Arizona. And all the truckers, as badass as they are, they saw us coming in and they went, oh, this is not good. and they would kind of drift out while we had breakfast. But anyway, Bill and I were driving to Tombstone because we wanted to go to the cemetery and see some of the friends that we had outlived that were buried there. That's the kind of minds we've got. And we were going to sit there and drink a bottle of wine and just talk about them, you know, and keep our reality going. And on the way there, a cop pulled me over for speeding because I had rented a convertible car, and we were shooting to Tombstone. And by the way, I never paid that ticket. But something really weird happened. I'll tell you about that. But anyway, he pulls us over, and I said, I'm gonna fix this guy, man. And Bill said, Lance, don't mess around, man, don't. And I'm standing there, and he's writing the ticket, and he looks up at me, and I've got the look on my face like, I'm gonna tear your face off. And he went, instinctively, I swear to God, because my eyes were kind of glazed over like I was gonna kill him. And he said, get out of here, just get out, you know, that kind of shit. He backed off, went in his car and left. Well, I never paid that ticket. We went to Tombstone, we drank wine by the side of the road, we did all this stuff. And years later, I'm getting my license renewed, and that ticket was still there, man. Since 60-something, 68 or 60.
No, when you shot Near Dark?
Yeah.
86.
Thank you, 86.
You can answer all the questions if you want.
Anyway, I had to call that same town and say, look, I don't know if I paid that ticket or not, knowing I didn't. And that guy goes, oh, I'll just take it off the books. I mean, after a certain length of time, if they haven't caught you, that ticket evaporated, right? Well, that's what happened. They let me go. I am a conniving, stealing, sneaky. I'll do anything not to pay a ticket, man.
Did you know when you were making Near Dark that it was going to be that damn good?
We knew what we were doing. We loved what each other was doing. You know, you never know how it's going to come out. I mean, you should. We don't know. I mean, how do you know? It's like a love affair. How do you know where it's going to go? You know, you start out with all that excitement and all of that thing, and you do it, and then you don't know where that's going to go. 4 months down the road, you go, how is she? And the guy goes, I don't care how she is. I mean, you don't know. So acting in a way is a love affair because you get involved in people and you go through all these, you start out by imitating life and then you end up feeling like it's really happening, you know, and you start living that way within the movie. So you don't know how it's going to go. I knew that Aliens was going to be good. I mean, we were certain. We saw everything that was going on, and Jim was right on the ball, and you know, we had nothing but respect for each other, and so it really worked out. But I knew about that one, and I know about one that's coming out pretty soon.
Yeah, tell us about it.
It's called The Last Druid, The Farm Wars, and I'm in it, and it's a Japanese director named Mamoru Oshii, who did Avalon, Ghost in the Shell, and a lot of anime. But this is real acting and a real movie. He waited 15 years to make this movie. We shot it up in Montreal over a year and 4 months ago, and now it's just finished. And I'm having an anxiety attack. Sometimes you bring things up and it just like freaks you out. My body just went, shut up.
Well, let's open it up to the
Yeah,
it's about these guys. So, but Steve's got a mic. Steve's got a mic.
He's got a mic?
Yeah, right back there.
Hello. Is it true that you were the original choice in James Cameron's mind to be the Terminator originally, before Arnold came on?
Yeah, that's true. Something happened though along the way. Jim and Gail, you know, they knew that. I didn't know that. But Jim had asked me, go in and see him, Dale, 15 minutes before I get there, and show him what the Terminator is going to be like. And I did. I kicked the door in. I had tinfoil on my teeth, so it looked like metal.
Who's the Terminator?
Big cut on my face.
He was supposed to be the Terminator, so sure took it.
And scared the shit out of the, excuse me if there's any kids here, scared the doo-doo out of the secretary. And then I left, and Jim pitched it, and of course he got the movie made, and I think the word is that Hemdale said, you can have anybody, but not him, meaning me. So that evaporated, you know, and that was okay, because he's a buddy of mine, and at that time, I just wanted to see him get his movie made. You know, that's the way you do things. Doesn't have to mean that I'm in it. You know,
As a result, you got to do some really kick-ass stuff with Paul Winfield.
Yeah, fun with Paul Winfield. We were like a comedy team, man. All that stuff was improvised. You know, it was like, yeah, I got that little cut. It was remember this one? We'd say, get out, shut up. You know, it was great fun. I mean, there's got to be some joy in acting, otherwise. More people are leaving. We better talk fast now.
I think we got a question over here.
Yeah, what?
With any of
What happened to your face?
It was a bad accident. I got a little hungry. In any of your movies, was there any accidents or incidents on scene that maybe injured anybody or just really scared the shit out of you?
You're scaring the shit out of me.
It was my first time in makeup. I guess it did it good.
That's pretty good. You got a perpetual smile on your face. The Joker. Okay. Anyway, I don't know how to answer that. I mean, I've been on movies where people were hurt. I never got hurt. I seem to be agile enough to escape danger. But I'm slowing down a lot, so I don't take really dangerous roles anymore. It's bullshit. I like the rough shit, you know. So.
Hi, Lance. I talked to you a little bit about this yesterday, but I just wanted everybody to know, if you haven't seen Stone Cold, go see it. If you're a fan of this guy, I think Chains is probably one of your best characters. I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about filming.
You know, Stone Cold, I took my mother to a theater to see that, right? I swear to God, my mom. And we have popcorn and everything, and we see the movie, and she comes out and she says, like to a crowd, they're all leaving the theater, and she's waving her arms as she talks, spilling the popcorn everywhere, and saying, that's my son, he's in that movie, he's in the movie. Did you see him in the movie? And I'm so embarrassed. And I said, Mom, what is going on with you? And she said, that's my favorite character that you've ever done. And I said, what? He's a psychopath. I mean, what's the matter with you? And she said, great line, I'll never forget it. She said, I haven't always been a good girl. I forgave her everything at that moment. I love you, Mom. That's my mom.
Yeah, seriously, I'm glad you brought up Stone Cold. If you haven't seen Stone Cold, it kicks ass. He's unbelievable. And pretty quickly, what about Hard Target with John? What was it like working with John Woo?
I love John Woo. Yeah, he set me on fire, and I said, John, can we do it again? You know what, Stone Cold, we had to improvise that movie. All the lines were pretty much improvised, only because, we really did. And so, if you're improvising in a movie, you get deeper in the character naturally. You know, it naturally happens. So it was very successful. I liked it very much.
Hi, Lance.
I know you.
Yeah.
Hi.
Just wanted to ask you about your role in Hannibal. You were just sitting in a chair.
Sometimes psychopaths just sit there and look at you. No, I played a serial killer in that, and the only thing I could use, since it was only one day I went up, they asked me to be in it, and they wanted to see what my chemistry would be, and I remember sitting there and savoring every rancid thing I said to those guys, and that worked. And they wanted me to come back and do more, but I felt like I didn't want to constantly be flying from LA to Toronto, back and forth, because it wasn't it was a role with an arc, but not a regular. Because you can't really have a, well, Hannibal, they do have a psychopathic Hannibal killer who's a regular, but I don't know how they're doing that. I just don't know how. But anyway, they're doing it.
Speaking of recent TV, did I, Lance, I'm over here in the corner.
Russia?
Yeah.
You said Russia?
Recent TV that you've done, I thought I saw your name in the credits for the pilot for The Strain. You did a voice?
Yeah.
What was the voice?
The voice of the master.
Okay, well, because they've changed it now.
Yeah.
They did somebody else. But
Are you going to see Robert England at all?
Del Toro called me up and he said, Lance, well, you know what they had me do? They had me speaking Romanian.